Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the ShadowVlog. I'm your host as always. Uh, Stupid me forgot to take his camera up with him when he went to Portland today, but that's okay because I'm still going to tell you about it. First things first, I think I owe an apology to downtown Salem because in previous communiques with friends and vlogs and such, I have referenced the streets of downtown Salem as being rather labyrinthine in nature. Uh, but I owe an apology to the streets of downtown Salem because, in fact, there are worse. The streets of downtown Portland, for instance, which not only are cluttered with one-way streets and bus routes, but also metro rails. Yeah, internal monorail. Well, not monorail, but internal train system as well. So, yeah, worse. Uh, um, Also, I am very thankful for the fact that there's at least one parking garage in downtown Salem that is completely free and is the one I do use most often. Because the parking garage I went to in Portland today cost $5 an hour on the weekdays. You know, I understand that the city of Portland's got to make their money somewhere, but anyway, I did manage to get to downtown Portland, and I also managed to get up to the Washington Square Mall up there, which was a very nice mall. Um, Very interesting layout. It's basically the kind of well, you could almost use it as a walking track because you could basically go around in a circle on it. The food court is exclusively upstairs in one spot. It also has two of my favorite stores. It has a Williams-Sonoma and a Tivana. And for those of you who are residents of Portland who might be watching this, I apologize for the two loud squee-splosions that rocked your city today, because I found out that both of those places are hiring. So you can bet your butt I'm going to be applying there. Yeah, it's up in Portland, so I'll either have to travel from Salem or find a way to actually move up to Portland. And Portland's probably a lot more expensive than Salem, but yeah. Though, let me put it this way. It is a running joke in my family that my first words, rather than being the usual, like dad, dad, or mama, or something simple like that, my first words were, I'm hungry. Since then, I have had a true connection to food, and especially since the advent of the Food Network, getting to watch that and watch Good Eats and stuff, I've really developed an affinity for food and cooking, which is part of the reason why Williams-Sonoma would be one of my dream jobs, because it's one of my favorite stores to go to. As for Tijuana, well, I kind of developed a little bit of an affinity for tea, almost, but not quite to the same level as my affinity for wine. So, might think about applying there as well, since I do have a thing for tea as well. So, Yeah. This trip to Portland, wise decision. Because, more options. Hey. I also finally stopped by the Kmart in the area. Very interesting layout there, but it's in kind of a little bit of an out-of-the-way place. And I did not see any signs on the front door that said that they were hiring, so don't think I'm going there. But, yeah. I actually went there for a specific purpose. That was to get me some new shoelaces, because the ones on my shoes had worn out. In fact, they had worn out to the point that well, they were basically just like the braided nylon core really was left. The outer sheathing had already been worn through and starting to bunch up, so I actually had to use scissors to get those shoestrings off of my shoes. Fun. But I did get me some new shoestrings, couple of bucks, and relace them so that those shoes will last me longer. Also, a little bit of a weather note. Today and yesterday really are the first rainy days that I've had while actually living here. Of course, there were the rainy days from, there was the rainy night, the first rainy night when I got here, but I didn't really experience it because I was here and it had gone out before I actually managed to get out the next day. So it's not something I actually got to experience. It's not a very heavy rain, it's just like kind of a drizzle-ish type rain. And it has not sapped any of my energy, amazingly, or any of my enthusiasm. I did notice myself getting a little bit cranky, but that was at some points. But again, that was largely because of Portland's roads. Because not only are Portland's downtown roads very labyrinthine, they also have this wonderful, lovely tendency to make you stop while on an upward incline. So yeah, so you pretty much have to have one foot on the brake and one foot on the gas, as the Sammy Hagar song goes, so that you don't accidentally scooch back and bonk the person behind you. I'm not fond of stopping on hills, but we do what we must because we can, for the good of all of us, except the ones who are dead. Yes, blatant Portal reference. I'm probably the only one that I know of that actually uses that particular line of that song as the reference, as opposed to the more mimetic lines. By the way, in case you're wondering what I've got in my hand here, it is a mocha latte little lollipop that I also got while I was at Kmart, 50 cents, you know. So, yeah. I didn't really want a snack per se, something to nibble on because I had lunch in downtown Portland, so I just decided to give me a little sucker, tide me over until dinner time, you know. One other thing I have found out is that, and I'm probably going to be deploying this at least as long as I have money, that if I don't feel like I'm going to be using the bus regularly over the course of the month, I can actually get, for like $3.25, I think, I can actually get a pass where I can ride the bus during the day. You know, as long as I've got it with me, I can ride on almost any line in, say, any bus line in Salem all day long, as long as the, you know, as long as the date is what it says on the pass. So, in efforts to conserve petrol consumption, I will probably be deploying that as long as I have money, which unfortunately isn't going to be very longer because my last paycheck's running out a lot faster than I thought. Urban exploration is fun, but it's not really cheap. Much to my chagrin. Shame I can't make money from my urban explorations, because that would solve an awful lot of problems. I could, if I could get paid to explore urban, my housing situation would be okay because I could pretty much just, home base out of an extended stay hotel like this for a while and just explore random places, I've actually, if worse comes to worse, I've actually considered, starting up like an Indiegogo or a Kickstarter for something like that, something where I can basically work for myself, that's really going to be a last ditch effort because basically when you run into one of these Kickstarter things, for those of you who have no idea what Kickstarter is, and I imagine that's probably going to be about maybe 1/3 of my audience, so basically 2 of you, what that whole Kickstarter thing is people who are wanting to start projects like a video game, or I've seen it done for video series, or there was actually one website, Screw Attack, who did that as fundraising for their SGC, their convention. They were wanting to bring that back, and that's how they decided to do that. What it basically does is it's kind of a twist on venture capital in that it's not funded by one group. It's funded by people who are willing to donate to the project. So you go on the website, they have a certain little goal. They have a goal. They have a list of how long it's going to be going, and people can donate to that. And they have stretch goals. You can give people perks for different levels of donation. Like I said, it's a very involved process, and people who use it often get accused of being upscale beggars, which is why I'm only kicking it around as a possible last-ditch option here. Because, it's not that I don't want to get a real job. I mean, I am looking for a real job. But, it's something that, I can do something that isn't just for me, even though I do love to explore. It's something that kind of be for y'all too, where I'd be able to get to go, places and do things and show you things, and maybe be able to kind of get off the beaten path, maybe even a little bit, because as to date I haven't really gotten to go to really many of the niche places because I've been so worried about money. But it's a thought. It's something I'm kicking around in my head. I'm not saying I'm going to do it, and in fact, if there's enough negative feedback coming from this video on that idea, I definitely won't do it. Because, I mean, I hate to say it, but in some ways, I'm dependent on other people's opinions. I'm not going to, just set up a Kickstarter like this without knowing there's going to be some kind of interest involved. I'm not going to do something like that just spur of the moment with no real idea if it's going to get any kind of interest attached to it. And so I want to know what y'all think on that. So that's also another reason why I'm doing this video. I want to know what y'all think about that idea. Like I said, I'm going to wait and see if I get a job at somewhere else before I even think of doing that. Or before I even think of setting that up. But I want to know what you think. I want to know if you think I could do it, if you think I should do it. I suck with logistics, and for all my love of mathematics, I also suck with numbers. So, if you think I could do that, maybe suggestions as to, maybe what my goals should be, what maybe incentives I could give for various different levels of contribution, ways besides, just like Facebook and Twitter that I could spread it around. Again, like I said, it's not an absolute certainty that's what I'm going to do it, but it is something that came to my mind while I was driving, and I thought even if I end up definitely not doing it, it's definitely something to at least consider conceptually. Because, I've been in some ways prepared to, if I had to live out of my car, just to make sure that I can succeed here, because I don't really want to go back to Oklahoma. To those of you who are in Oklahoma who are watching this, I love y'all. I hate Oklahoma. I don't want to go back. I want to stay here. I like it here. It's nice here. But, so, yeah, like I said, I am, I've been mentally prepared to, live out of my car if I have to. But at the same time, I really don't want to have to. If it can at all be avoided, I would very much like that. Of course, the thing is, I might still have to get, like a little job in the interim anyway, because if I do a Kickstarter, the minimum I'm setting it up for is 30 days. So that's going to be 30 days before whatever proceeds are matched get to me. If we make the goal, I think it's, if the goal is made, the people, I'm going to look into that and find out for sure. I'm going to look into exactly how Kickstarter works as a form of curiosity. I'm going to look into how it works, or if someone knows a little bit better how it works than I do, feel free to leave a comment here or shoot me a line on Twitter or Skype or Facebook or whatever. You know, because all I know is that people have used it to fund amazing things. Like I said, even an entire convention funded from Kickstarter. You know, video series funded by either Kickstarter or Indiegogo. It's close approximation. And you know, y'all know that if anyone who might be watching this would have any doubts that I would do it, just look at the vlogs that I stressed over for the better part of about 4 or 5 days before I was finally able to get them uploaded. I would find a way, you know. You know, maybe it wouldn't necessarily look all fancy and prettyful, maybe, but it'd be there, you know. And actually, maybe part of what I'd have to factor in there would be like the cost of Sony Vegas or something like that, so I can stop using Windows Movie Maker and having to convert my freaking files before I ever put them into the. Sorry, I'm working myself up into this. But yeah, you know, that's just a thought. And like I said, just because this idea came to my head does not mean I'm going to stop looking for a regular job. Oh, heck no. I need money, like, within about 2 more weeks. Because, you know, 2 weeks from Sunday, if I don't have some kind of money to, you know, be able to stretch it out a week, 2 weeks, or maybe even a whole other month, Bird's out of doors, you know. Bird's not going to be shooting from here. In fact, Bird may not be shooting much of anything, because the most internet I'd be able to would be taking the tablet into, like, Starbucks or whatever. And even then, they'd probably kick me out because I'm not ordering something. But, yeah, it's really getting into crunch time. And I am starting, admittedly, I am starting to get worried. But, and I've explored every option available outside of getting a job. I've even explored going back to school, getting like a communications or film studies or vinology, read wine degree, and unfortunately, it's just cost prohibitive, because on top of whatever cost that would be for, you know, for tuition and books and transportation and food and whatever, I'd have to pay for my car and my car insurance. I could easily drop my Sirius XM in a pinch, so I wouldn't have to worry about that much. But just between my car payment and my car insurance, that's an average, given what I have right now, that's an average of about $3,800 a year. Yeah. $3,800 a year just to keep my car and my insurance going. And, you know, both of them are really important, because my car is my main. Yes, we have public transportation here in Salem, but my car is still my main mode of transportation. Without it, if I get a job up in Portland, and I don't have a car, I'm going to lose that job. If I end up getting a job in Albany or Corvallis or Beaverton or, you know, any other city in the surrounding area, and I don't have a car, I'm going to lose that job. You know, if it's anywhere in Salem, as long as I've got, you know, enough money where I can get like a monthly bus pass or whatever, I could make do. Yeah, but if I get a job anywhere else in the surrounding area, I'm screwed without a car. So, so you know, so you know, when batting back, you know, thoughts of, do I want to go back to school? It's really a case of, well, do I want to go into massive debt to some soulless lending corporation again? And would I be able to get enough where I could go to school and continue to pay for my car? And when I say pay for my car, I combine those two together, and of course, gasoline. Yeah, which actually isn't really that expensive. I've been able to find gas places around here $3.85. More expensive than in Oklahoma, yes, but still not too bad. But yeah, I'm battling my options, you know, crunching numbers in my head. I actually need to find out from the office here how much it would be to extend out for another week or another 2 weeks to find out about how much I need. I know it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,100 just to book this for a month. And if you book it out for a month's stay or longer, that actually does drop the price down. It does get cheaper the longer out you go, and you do get quite a bit for $1,100. Now, maybe the room's not that big, but I've got a little kitchen with a microwave. I've got TV. I've got electricity. I've got water. I don't have to pay for any of that. I don't have to pay. Well, I don't have to pay extra for any of that. I've got internet access, which I did have to pay $30 for the month, but that's just because I wanted the faster speed. I didn't have to pay for it. I just paid for it because I wanted the high speed. But so yeah, it's starting to get into the worrisome zone. But I am getting a little worried, but I am not depressed worried, if that makes any sense. It's more of a, I'm kind of in the early stages of worry. I'm not anywhere close to panic yet, and I'm not in the depression stage of worry yet, but I'm more in the apprehensive stage, shall we say, of worry, because like I said, it's getting close to 2 weeks in, and I haven't even gotten a call back from anyone on the job yet, despite looking. More options are opening up, but while more options are opening up, time is also closing in. So keep me in your thoughts and your prayers. Hopefully, maybe I'll be able to get out a little more at some point, and still be able to explore somewhat, even if my fundage is shrinking a little more rapidly than I'd like. I do at least have something to do on Wednesday nights. So I am not without social interaction, and I am definitely not without a reason to get out every once in a while. So, you know, at the very least, every Wednesday night, maybe I can break out these boys and have a little fun. So, wow, I've been talking for nearly 30 minutes. got on that rabbit trail about Kickstarter as part of it. Yeah, that's really it. Portland was really fun. It's kind of cool and rainy, but I'm surviving. And oh boy. So until next time, this has been ShadowVlog. I am the Shadow Bird. Later, y'all.